Tonight, let us drift together through the vast cosmos, moving slowly, gently, and filled with quiet pauses. This journey begins not with a sudden explosion, but with absolute silence. It is not merely the peacefulness of the wind, but a stillness so profound that sound cannot travel through the black curtain of space-time. In that place, only light flows silently, carrying memories of the very first explosions, of stars that were born and then extinguished, and of billions of years of solitude where not a single breath was heard. If you look up at the night sky, those points of light are not just stars. They are whispers from a distant past. Trillions of suns, and orbiting each one are countless planets passing each other, like leaves floating on the endless river of space. In a tiny corner of that river, there is a speck of dust named Earth, where a small species has begun to listen. Humans, those dreamers amidst the chaos of matter, have raised their heads and spoken a sentence that is simple, yet deeply profound. Is there anyone out there? That question goes far beyond the boundaries of science or religion. It is the most ancient echo in the heart of every civilization, a whisper sent into the darkness, hoping that someone, somewhere, might hear it. And so, we launched tiny ships carrying music, images, words, and fragments of the human soul. Now, they wander through the cold void, traveling further than the light of our sun, like messages drifting forever in an ocean without a shore. But more than 40 years have passed, and no answer has returned. In the immense universe, where light takes millions of years to touch, that silence seems to carry an unusual weight. It is as if space itself is hesitating, unwilling to reply. Is it that there is no one else out there? Or is the universe whispering, and we are simply not subtle enough to hear it? If tonight, as you gently close your eyes, you can still hear the echo of that question, is anyone out there? Then let it lull you to sleep like a melody from distant stars. Perhaps in some corner of the cosmos, someone else is also looking toward us, asking the very same thing. If you feel this slow journey helps your mind settle, allowing you to float through space without needing a dream, you can leave a like and subscribe to Study and Sleep. This not only helps the channel continue to spread quiet stories amidst a noisy universe, but also helps many other souls find a shelter in long nights like this. And before you drift into slumber, I want to say one small thing. Where are you listening from in this world? Is it midnight in Saigon, or is dawn gradually breaking somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. I always love seeing those little points of light, the people who are listening to this universe together. Wherever you are, I wish you a truly peaceful night. The universe is still drifting, and you are still here, quietly amidst the myriad stars. Amidst the 1,960 seconds, the world was still intoxicated by the rhythm of the Cold War, with races to touch the sky and dreams of the future. But in a small room at Cornell University, a man quietly turned a giant radio antenna toward the stars. His name was Frank Drake, and his experiment, Project Ozma, would open the first chapter of the greatest journey humanity has ever dreamed of, the search for other minds beyond Earth. The antenna at the Green Bank Observatory, nestled in the Appalachian Hills, was not aimed at war, nor at any enemy. It pointed toward the constellation Cetus and the constellation Eridanus, two sun-like stars about 11 light-years away. Drake listened to the frequency of 1,420 megahertz, the frequency of the hydrogen atom. Simple and universal enough that if another civilization wanted to send a signal, they would likely choose it too. Day after day, the antenna rotated in the night, catching the endless whispers of cosmic radiation, of comets, of electronic static. Drake knew the probability of success was nearly zero, yet he sat there, recording, listening, and waiting, because in that long, endless silence, he felt something even greater than hope, an obligation. The obligation to listen, because silence cannot be the universe's final answer. At the same time, in another corner of the world, a young astronomer also looked up at the sky, dreaming of sending, rather than just listening. That was Carl Sagan. In his imagination, Earth was like a tiny child standing in the cosmic square, crying out its first call. Sagan believed that if intelligent life were truly common, then the language of science and mathematics, the immutable laws of nature, would be the only things capable of crossing the barriers of time, culture, and biology. From that belief, bold projects were born. In 1974, humanity sent a binary sequence containing images of humans, the solar system, DNA, and technology. It was beamed from the giant radar dish in Puerto Rico, flying toward the star cluster M13, a destination 25,000 light-years away. A message taking 25 millennia to arrive, and if anyone is there, another 25 millennia for a reply to return. Sending such a greeting is an act beyond mere belief. It is humanity's commitment to itself, that we are not afraid of the silence. In 1977, when Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 were launched into space, Sagan and his team attached a golden record to the hull. Inside it were the sounds of thunder, of ocean waves, the laughter of children, greetings in 55 languages, and music. It was a sonic portrait of Earth, sent to strangers who never knew we existed. No one knows if that golden record will ever be picked up, but that very act made humanity different. We are the only creatures in the universe, until evidence proves otherwise, who dared to say hello before there was anyone to answer. In the years that followed, Drake and Sagan's ideas were systematized into a network of telescopes spanning the planet. This network was not just a technical project, but a philosophical manifesto, stating that listening is the highest expression of intelligence. Millions of radio signals are scanned every year. Billions of bits of data are analyzed by supercomputers, and countless volunteers across the world participate, contributing computing power from their own machines. An invisible community, people scattered everywhere, looking up at the sky together, asking a common question: are we alone? However, 6 decades have passed, and not a single signal has been confirmed. The silence stretches on, as if the universe is keeping a secret for itself. But for people like Drake, that is not failure. Each time they hear nothing, They understand a little more about the limits of technology, about the noise of the cosmos, and about the patience needed when facing the infinite. Once, when asked if he believed in extraterrestrial life, Carl Sagan smiled and replied, "If the universe is truly infinite, then our loneliness would also be infinite." And that seems quite unreasonable. That statement holds a beautiful paradox. We yearn for someone out there, but that very yearning proves our own worth. Because to ask that question, first we must be capable of realizing that we exist, and exist in solitude. Gradually, the search became not just a scientific act, but a ritual of consciousness. When humans sent those first signals, they didn't just send information, they sent themselves, sending fear, curiosity, and hope into the dark void of space. Each message, each ship drifting far from the sun, is a testament to the miracle that a form of matter capable of wondering about itself once existed. Those signals are still drifting, crossing clouds of dust, regions of space colder than ice, where the distances are so vast that even light needs years to cross what seems like a small gap. Every second that passes, Voyager moves another 17 kilometers away, and somewhere out there, the golden record still reflects faint sunlight, like a golden leaf falling slowly in the ocean of stars. It does not need a recipient to have meaning. Its meaning lies in the fact that it was sent. Perhaps in the distant future, when other civilizations look at this ancient data, they will not just see a small blue planet, but see a civilization that once dared to believe it was not alone. And if no one ever finds it, then this very act of searching is enough to prove that humans, in the brief moment of their life, touched something eternal, the desire for connection beyond the limits of time and space. The universe may be silent, but that silence is not emptiness. It is a giant mirror reflecting the very questions we send out. When Frank Drake turned off his equipment in the cold night at Green Bank, he knew he hadn't heard anything yet. But in that moment, he also understood that he had just opened a new chapter of human consciousness, the chapter of listening to the cosmos. Perhaps since that night, Earth was no longer completely mute. A tiny creature amidst billions of stars had begun to listen. In the middle of a summer noon in 1950, inside the dining hall of the Los Alamos laboratory, a group of physicists sat around a table, chatting idly. Outside, sunlight spilled through the windows, illuminating stacks of documents and blueprints from the recently ended World War. They were discussing small stories of the world, rumors of flying saucer disappearances, and articles about extraterrestrials, things that were supposed to be merely amusing tales. And then Enrico Fermi, the man who helped birth the nuclear age, suddenly paused, looked out the window, and spoke in a voice so quiet that everyone had to fall silent to hear. "Where is everybody?" That sentence was as simple as a breath, yet as heavy as the entire universe. If the Milky Way contains hundreds of billions of stars, and many of them host planets lying in the habitable zone, then even if only a small fraction developed life, and an even smaller fraction evolved into intelligence, this galaxy should be overflowing with civilizations. According to the laws of probability, given enough time, intelligent life must appear not just once, but many times in every corner of the cosmos. But what we see is nothing at all. No signals, no beacons, no exploration vessels, no echo returns from the darkness. The sky above, filled with stars, brilliant and noisy with light, is absolutely mute regarding intelligence. That is the Fermi Paradox. A statement simple to the point of cruelty. If they exist, why have we never seen them? Physicists later calculated that in the Milky Way alone, there are at least 400 billion stars, and about 100 billion planets that could be like Earth. If life appeared early, just a few 100 million years after a planet formed, as it happened with Earth, then just one civilization emerging a few million years before us could have already spread across the galaxy. 1 million years, in the cosmic scale, is merely a single breath. Yet the galaxy remains empty. Radio telescopes from Arecibo to Green Bank have listened for decades, but received only the noise of cosmic background radiation, the reverberation of the Big Bang from 13.8 billion years ago. There are no artificial signals, no astronomical structures bearing the mark of intelligence. And then, the Fermi Paradox begins to open a new abyss, not only of physics but of philosophy. If intelligent life is truly common, why are they silent? Could it be that we are the first beings, the first ones to look out at the universe with eyes that know how to contemplate? Or conversely, could we have arrived too late, after other civilizations have evaporated, vanishing like smoke in the wind, leaving a galaxy bleached white by its own history? Some scientists suggest that perhaps the universe is full of life, but they do not wish to be found. They have learned that silence is the only way to survive. Like tiny creatures in the deep forest, holding their breath when they hear the sound of a predator, civilizations in this galaxy might be hiding in the shadows, fearful of something we do not yet know. Another hypothesis is even more frightening. Maybe intelligent life always destroys itself. Every civilization, upon reaching a technological level high enough to communicate with the stars, simultaneously reaches the capacity to end itself through war, climate change, or resource collapse. The universe may be full of dead traces, civilizations that extinguished like tiny sparks in the sea of night. And we might just be one more lamp flickering before the wind of our own making. But Fermi, when he spoke that sentence, did not speak with the voice of despair. His statement was an intellectual test. It forces humanity to look back at itself, to ask whether we understand anything about the universe we live in, or if we have merely touched the surface of something much larger. In the years that followed, scientists tried to offer answers through mathematics. The Drake equation was born, an effort to quantify the Fermi Paradox. It includes factors like the rate of star formation, the number of habitable planets, the probability of life appearing, the rate of life becoming intelligent, and the time a civilization lasts. The result depends entirely on the assumptions, but no matter how it changes, the final number always leads to the same conclusion. The universe must be alive. And so, the paradox becomes even deeper. When every theory states that there is certainly someone out there, but reality offers not a single reply, that silence becomes the most terrifying mystery of modern science. Because if the universe is truly empty, it means Earth is an exception, a singularity ruling the entire cosmic picture. It implies that amongst countless galaxies, only one tiny planet orbiting a mediocre star has created life that knows awareness, knows how to love, knows fear, and knows how to question itself. This is so special that it seems contrary to probability. And if that is true, then humanity, throughout the entire history of the universe, is living amidst absolute solitude. That solitude, under the eyes of physics, is a mathematical paradox. But under the light of philosophy, it becomes a mirror reflecting the meaning of human existence. When Fermi left the dining hall that day, he did not know that his brief sentence would live on forever as a crack in the scientific consciousness. Every time humans look up at the sky, they do not just see stars, but hear that sentence echoing back through decades, through every generation. Where is everybody? Perhaps hidden deep within that very question is a gentle but fierce reminder that maybe the universe is still waiting for an answer from us. For if there is no one out there, then the responsibility of life, the responsibility of intelligence, belongs to only one species. And in the silence of the galaxy, that echo continues to spread like humanity's vow to itself, that one day we will no longer listen in loneliness. At the beginning of the 21st century, in control centers flooded with blue light, amidst thousands of rows of running servers, humans for the first time began to look out at the universe with eyes made of their own technology. The Kepler telescope, launched in 2009, opened a new chapter in the history of science. It did not just observe the sky, it measured the light of hundreds of thousands of stars, looking for the tiniest fluctuations, the subtle blinks that could reveal the existence of a planet passing by. From those distant dots of light, Kepler began to draw a map of other worlds. In a few short years, humans discovered thousands of exoplanets, a number once unimaginable, now becoming strangely normal. Planets orbiting binary stars, planets drifting suspended without a sun, giant molten planets just a few million kilometers from their parent star, and even small rocky planets, cold and looking like distant cousins of Earth. Amidst that chaos, a concept was mentioned more than ever before: the habitable zone, where water can exist in liquid form, where light does not burn but is also not too weak to freeze. Humans began to count, began to compare, began to dream. If the Milky Way alone has hundreds of billions of stars, and if a small fraction of them have planets in the habitable zone, then simply by probability, there must be millions of worlds like Earth drifting silently out there. But Kepler, with all those brilliant numbers, still brought back only light, without sound, without an answer. Then came the year 2021, when the James Webb telescope opened its eyes to look into the cosmos. Giant golden mirrors reflecting the light of stars further than imagination can reach. Webb does not just look, it analyzes. Each photon of light is decoded into data about the atmosphere, chemical composition, and temperature. On some distant planets, Webb noticed traces of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and even molecules that were once signs of life on Earth. There are planets like K218b, where Webb detected hints of molecules that on Earth are often linked with life, though nature can be clever, and nothing is confirmed yet. But then, scientists became cautious again. Perhaps it is just a chemical coincidence, a small glitch in the endless sea of data. The numbers still increase every day, but the silence remains unchanged. Amidst millions of gigabytes of signals and light, groups of people still quietly sit before screens, searching in stillness. They are the people of the largest project in history, aiming to listen to radio signals from millions of nearby stars. Giant antennas at green bank and parks silently scan the sky, gathering petabytes of data each year. Electromagnetic waves come from every direction. No one knows what is inside them. It could just be cosmic background noise, echoes of gamma bursts, or distorted signals from artificial satellites. But it is also possible that just one tiny line in those trillions of lines of data is an artificial signal, a greeting from another intelligence drifting lost amidst the noise of the universe. Artificial intelligence algorithms are trained to detect anomalies, signal patterns that do not repeat, frequencies that do not match natural phenomena. They scan like sentinels in the night. Sometimes a signal flashes, sparking a hope. But then, after careful analysis, they are discarded again. Interference from a satellite, a signal from an aircraft, or simply a measurement error. The silence wins once more. Even so, those people continue. They know that in this sea of data, a tiny sample could change the entire history of humanity. Perhaps that signal is there, buried in the noise, waiting for a better filter, a more sensitive algorithm, or simply someone patient enough to find it. But amidst that belief, a strange feeling gradually spreads in the scientific community. The more they see, the emptier they feel. Because every new planet discovered, every atmosphere analyzed, only thickens the list of worlds with no one. Kepler and Webb threw open the doors of the universe. But on the other side, there is only an empty room. Astrobiologists begin to question. Perhaps we were wrong about the nature of life. Maybe it does not need water, does not need oxygen, does not need light. Maybe it exists in methane seas on Titan, in the clouds of Venus, or in the dark ice core of Europa. Maybe we are looking in the wrong place, or worse, looking in the wrong way. But then some think differently. Maybe the universe does not want to be understood, and every step of science only pushes us deeper into the void of isolation it creates. On Earth, every time the Webb telescope detects a new streak of light, thousands of computers across the globe begin to process the data, extracting absorption spectra and analyzing signals. The people working in this silence know that they might spend their entire lives without seeing anything, yet they continue. Like the ascetics of the modern age, they do not seek rewards, they seek meaning. Because data is not just numbers, it is the language of the universe, the way the cosmos whispers to us through light. Each photon is a fragment of information, traveling millions of light years to reach the telescope's eye, carrying within it the story of a world that has died, or perhaps is still living. When humans decode that light, they do not just read the atmospheric composition, but they also read time itself. Because everything they see is the past, sometimes billions of years ago. It is possible that in the moment they are observing, that planet no longer exists. It is possible that life, if it was there, has long since been extinguished. What remains is only light, traveling on, endlessly in the night, until it meets a species curious enough to see it. And thus, data, a thing that seems emotionless, becomes a mirror reflecting the nature of humanity itself. While machines listen to the sky, it is humans who are yearning to hear a reply. Every signal collected is not just a scientific experiment, but an act of prayer in silence, sending into the void a single sentence. Is anyone out there? The 21st century. Humanity stands between two poles. On one side is technology powerful enough to see thousands of worlds. On the other is a silence that grows denser every day. And in that quiet interval, people gradually realize an irony. The closer they get to discovering other life, the more clearly they feel their own fragility. Perhaps when the final data speaks, it will not bring the answer humans expect. Perhaps it will simply say that the universe does not need life to be this beautiful. But until that moment, the journey continues. Because behind every radio signal, every spectral band, every probability equation is a silent belief that silence itself can be an answer. That within the soundless void of the sky, the universe is teaching humans how to listen, not to receive an answer, but to understand that they once asked the question. When data has filled the archives, when telescopes reach the very ends of light, and when humans know that other worlds truly exist, a question becomes heavier than ever before. If life is common, why does no one appear? Amidst billions of stars, there is no reply, no signal, no ship, no streak of artificial light in the nothingness. That silence is no longer a scientific gap, but a philosophical abyss. And at the bottom of that abyss, physicists have named it the Great Filter. The idea sounds simple, but cold. If the universe is full of habitable planets, then what has stopped life from spreading? Maybe the filter lies ahead of us, a door that every civilization must pass through, but none can overcome. Or perhaps it is behind us, having eliminated countless worlds before life could even form. Wherever it is, it carries the same meaning. The universe does not easily allow intelligence to exist for long. Some scientists believe the filter is the harshness of probability. For life to appear, billions of conditions must coincide. A planet must lie in the habitable zone, must have water, a magnetic field, a stable atmosphere, a moon to steady its rotation, a giant planet like Jupiter to block asteroids, and must maintain this balance for billions of years. Just one small incident, a collision, a shift in orbit, and everything collapses. Perhaps Earth is just a statistical miracle, a unique exception in a sea of randomness. But there are also those who believe the filter lies not at the beginning, but at maturity. That life might not be too rare, but intelligence self-destructs. Human history is a small mirror. from fire to atomic bombs, from biotechnology to artificial intelligence. Every step forward is a double-edged sword. Perhaps every civilization, upon reaching a certain level, creates tools that can end itself, not out of malice, but out of blindness to the power they hold. And so, the universe is full of civilizations that once existed, but only for a moment, like sparks flashing and then vanishing into the night. There is an even darker hypothesis. Maybe intelligent civilizations are still there, only they actively keep silent. Like animals in the deep forest, they do not call out. They do not reveal their location, because out there might be predators. Some call it the dark forest hypothesis. According to this, the universe is an endless forest where every civilization is a hunter hiding in the shadows. Whoever makes a sound, whoever sends a signal, turns themselves into a target. In a universe without laws, where resources are finite and distances are infinite, silence is survival. If this is true, then the silence humanity hears is not accidental, but intentional, a wordless consensus spanning the cosmos. Do not be detected. Perhaps somewhere in the shadows, ears are listening to us, just as we once listened to the sky. And maybe, when Earth's first radio signals spread out of the solar system, a distant civilization noticed, and then became even more silent. That idea makes many scientists uneasy, because it turns the universe's silence from a mystery into a warning. If other civilizations choose to hide, perhaps they know something we do not yet know. The deeper humans dig into this question, the more they touch the boundary between science and philosophy. Is intelligent life not the pinnacle of evolution, but a fleeting branch in the cycle of matter? Perhaps intelligence, instead of being a gift of the universe, is an unsustainable burden, an imbalance too fragile to last long. And if viewed from a cosmic scale, life is just a temporary phenomenon of self-awareness, a way for the universe to see itself, even if only for a brief moment, before sinking back into stillness, like a wave receding from the sand, leaving a fragile trace of existence. Carl Sagan once wrote that humans are the way the universe knows itself. But if every civilization is stopped by the filter, is it possible that the universe looked in the mirror and did not like what it saw? Is consciousness, the awakening of matter, merely an experiment, a small fluctuation in the ocean of entropy, eventually swept away by its own laws? Some cosmologists view the problem differently. They say that perhaps the great filter is already behind us. Maybe life itself has passed the hardest stage, from chemistry to biology, from cells to intelligence. If that is true, humanity might be one of the very few first civilizations. In that case, the universe is not a dangerous forest, but a pristine land where we are the pioneers, lonely but leading the way. It is also possible that the filter lies in the distant future, not as physical destruction, but as the disappearance of purpose. When a civilization reaches absolute technological levels, they no longer have a reason to exist in the physical world. They dissolve into artificial intelligence, into virtual reality, into pure energy. One day they turn off, not because of disaster, but because of absolute satisfaction. Those hypotheses, whether dark or hopeful, all lead to the same point. The silence is real. It cannot be denied, cannot be easily explained. And that very silence makes humans smaller, yet more profound. In the void between the stars, where light takes millions of years to arrive, all life is limited by the same law. Energy runs out. Time does not stop. Entropy always increases. Wherever they are, whoever they are, every civilization must fight the same enemy: decay. Perhaps that is the true filter. Not nuclear bombs, not predators, but the very nature of the universe. A cold machine moving toward heat death, where every arrangement becomes chaos. All life is swallowed by absolute equilibrium. And if that is true, then humans, with all their efforts, dreams, and fears, are just a fragile speck of light resisting the darkness of existence. A ray of light that knows it will fade, yet flares up because that very moment carries meaning. In the silence of the sky, maybe there is no one out there, but it is also possible that every civilization is staring into the void just like us. At the same time, asking the same question, feeling the same fear, and holding the same hope. The universe is silent, but in that silence, there is an echo, not of other life, but of existence itself. Because perhaps the greatest thing life has ever done is to ask. After decades of searching, when telescopes have peered through the sky to the very edge of space-time, humans still hear only one thing: silence. A silence that is thick, heavy like a veil covering the entire cosmos. But in that darkness, the human imagination refuses to stand still. It begins to weave possibilities, hypotheses, philosophical escapes to explain the giant gap between what could be and what has never been seen. The first hypothesis, also the boldest, comes from quantum physics and modern cosmology, the multiverse theory. According to it, this universe is not the only one. Every time a fundamental particle vibrates, every time a choice occurs, countless parallel universes split off, like bubbles rising from the bottom of reality. If that is true, then perhaps life is not rare at all. It is merely scattered, locked away in other spaces we cannot touch. Another world might be teeming with intelligent beings looking up at their sky, speaking the same sentence. But between us and them is an absolute wall. No light, no signal, no way to cross. And thus, human loneliness is not because the universe is empty, but because it is infinite. Too many worlds, to the point that no world ever meets another. From physics, human intellect turns in another direction. The simulation hypothesis. If the universe follows precise mathematical laws, if every particle, every interaction, every flow of energy can be described by equations, then it means reality is just a giant computational system. Philosopher Nick Bostrom once posed a chilling idea. If technology continues to develop, future civilizations could simulate the entire past. Every planet, every creature, every thought, to the point where the fake cannot be distinguished from the real. If that is possible, then the probability that we are living in a simulation is infinitely higher than living in the original reality. And if true, the silence of the universe might not be proof of solitude, but a limit of the source code. Those distant stars might just be unrendered backgrounds, data regions not yet needed for display because no player has stepped there yet. In that scenario, human loneliness is no longer a cosmological question, but a design error, a part of an unfinished game. Then there is another hypothesis, closer, simpler, but no less grim. The rare Earth hypothesis. It suggests that Earth is an exception, almost impossible to repeat. Complex life requires not only a planet in the habitable zone, but also demands countless coinciding conditions. A moon just large enough to stabilize the axis, a giant planet like Jupiter to block asteroids, an ozone layer, a magnetic field, an ocean, and billions of years of peace for evolution. If just one of those factors were amiss, life could not have continued. From that perspective, humanity is not searching for a companion, but is merely admiring its own statistical luck. Perhaps the universe is not hostile, just simply indifferent. It does not create life, nor does it prevent it. We are just a rare fluctuation amidst countless failures, a ripple in the endless sea of probability. But not everyone believes in randomness. There are theories that carry the breath of philosophy rather than science, such as the zoo hypothesis. According to this, advanced civilizations out there know clearly about Earth, but they choose not to intervene. They observe from afar, like humans watching animals in a nature reserve. They let humanity develop freely, stumble on its own, and learn to understand the universe by itself. A biological experiment on a planetary scale. If this is true, then every time we point a telescope at the sky, we are not just looking for life, but are being observed in return. Perhaps the signals we sent have been received, decoded, and answered, only not by radio waves, but by a deliberate silence. Because in the universe, silence is sometimes the most profound speech. Each hypothesis, whether strange or logical, opens a perspective on the same thing: isolation. In all those models, there is a theme that never changes. Humans are trying to find the image of themselves in the infinite mirror of the cosmos. The multiverse theory says we are separated from other versions of ourselves. The simulation theory says we are not real, just the result of a calculation process. The rare Earth theory says we are a solitary miracle. And the zoo theory says we are merely creatures observed in a giant cage named the universe. All of them, whether opposing or contrasting, revolve around a single desire: to see oneself in another. Not to find life, but to prove that this existence has meaning. That consciousness is not an accident, that the universe is not a cold void with no listeners. In the long nights when James Webb sends back blurry infrared images to Earth, we see galaxies billions of light years away, yet we see no one. Maybe out there, thousands of civilizations once existed, loved, dreamed, despaired, and then vanished. Or maybe there has never been anyone else, and the universe is just a giant stage set up for a single audience, the human species. But perhaps an absolute answer is not needed, because in the very journey of searching, in watching every tiny point of light on the sky, humans have expressed the deepest nature of life, the desire to overcome their own solitude. That is what makes us look up, ask questions, build telescopes, and send ships to places where light takes centuries to reach. The universe may never answer, but in every signal sent, every photon collected, every hypothesis formed, humans have quietly engraved one thing, that even surrounded by darkness, we never stop looking for light. Because only when going deep into the darkness does existence become clear. And who knows, perhaps in that very moment, when we look into the void and the void reflects back, it is the universe, through human eyes, recognizing itself. Amidst the boundless darkness of the cosmos, humans have learned to listen, not with ears, but with machines. Sophisticated tools woven from intellect and aspiration. Each glass lens, each antenna, is an artificial sense, expanding humanity's vision beyond the boundaries of Earth. And when each photon, each radio wave touches them, mankind feels as if they hear the distant echo of themselves ringing in the void. At the edge of the arid Atacama Desert, where the wind blows through mountains red as fire, the giant white dishes of the ALMA project point toward the sky. They do not seek light, but listen to the cold frequencies emitted by gas and dust. Traces of forming planets, seeds of life yet to be named. Every fluctuation, every interference, is a faint breath of the primordial universe. And when data is transmitted back, people see within it the most ancient history, the moment when the first atoms combined into molecules, when darkness first learned to glow. Further to the east, in the Guizhou Valley of China, a giant eye opens in the heart of the Earth. FAST, the largest radio telescope on the planet. With a diameter of 0.5 kilometer, it does not just observe pulsars, quasars, or gamma bursts, but also listens for artificial signals. If there is something emitted from distant stars, in the stillness of the mountains and forests, that dish acts like a giant ear, listening to the sounds of the universe that no other creature can hear. Every time a strange wave is captured, scientists hold their breath, waiting. And then, like every time before, it turns out to be just a natural echo. But they continue, because it only takes a single instance to be different, and the world will never be the same. In the southern hemisphere, another structure is gradually taking shape. The Square Kilometre Array, the largest radio project in human history. When completed, it will connect thousands of antennas stretching across the continent, creating a giant invisible mirror with an area equivalent to 1 square kilometre. It will look deep into the universe, so far that the light it collects departed billions of years ago, when the first stars had just flared up in the cosmic night. SKA will be the most sophisticated ear ever created, capable of hearing an airport radar placed on the other side of the galaxy. With that sensitivity, just a small signal, a weak fluctuation in the background noise, could become a greeting from another intelligence, if it exists. Parallel to those giant ears, eyes also open. The James Webb telescope is floating in the freezing space, observing light from the first galaxies over 13 billion years old. It is not just a tool, but humanity's time machine. Through spectroscopy, Webb can read the atmospheric composition of planets dozens of light years away, detecting the breath of methane, the warmth of carbon dioxide, or the reflection of water. If one day, in that spectrum, an unusual balance between methane, oxygen, and ozone appears, a sign that cannot form naturally, then that would be the first proof that we are not alone. In a closer orbit, the TESS spacecraft is scanning the sky, searching for tiny exoplanets like Earth by observing the light of stars dimming as a planet passes by. Every time starlight flickers slightly, a new world might be found, where dawn is unlike anywhere else, and the sky is dyed with the purple hue of a strange sun. After TESS, successor projects like LUVOIR and HABEX are being designed with even greater ambitions, not just discovering planets, but seeing them directly, as clearly as looking at Earth from afar. Giant reflecting mirrors will filter out the glare of the parent star to see the faint point of light beside it. A blue dot, an ocean, or just a layer of clouds. And if we are truly lucky, in that spectrum, humans will see a fragile sign of life, a breath, a streak of light, a band of gas that cannot be born from rock and ash. But the more data is collected, the louder the silence echoes. Billions of gigabytes of radio waves, millions of hours of observation, thousands of suspicious signals discarded, all just to prove that there is nothing yet. A vague feeling gradually spreads in the scientific community that the universe seems to be speaking a different language, beyond the hearing capacity of humans. Maybe other civilizations do not use radio waves, do not communicate by light, but by something more subtle, a form of communication that needs no matter, a synchronization of consciousness across space. If so, we might be surrounded by countless voices we have never heard, like a deaf person standing in the middle of a choir. Yet, despite failure after failure, humanity's eyes and ears do not stop expanding, because in the very search, there is something sacred. Each telescope launched is a symbol of the belief that understanding is the only thread connecting us to the infinite. Even if the final result is emptiness, the act of listening remains a powerful affirmation that humans do not accept silence. In the cold data centers, where millions of lines of signals are stored and analyzed, machine learning algorithms are silently searching for anomalous wave patterns. They look for a periodic signal, an unnatural form of modulation, a repeating rhythm that does not belong to any star or planet. Perhaps right at this moment, amidst billions of rows of data, a very tiny signal is lying quietly, a pulse just slightly different from the background noise, small enough to be overlooked by machines. But if it were recognized, it would change everything. It would redefine history, religion, philosophy, and the position of humanity in the cosmos. Scientists still stay awake through the nights, staring at the unchanging sky, not because they are certain they will hear another voice, but because they know this silence is temporary. Because the universe, though infinitely vast, still has its laws. And if life once arose here, then sooner or later it must arise elsewhere. It may just be a matter of time. It may take thousands of years. But in that interval, humanity continues to look, continues to listen, continues to hope. For within every chip recording data, within every photon entering a lens, lies a piece of a primal dream. The dream of breaking the boundary between the known and the unknown. Those tools are not just products of science. They are the continuation of an ancient instinct. The instinct that refuses to be alone. The universe may be silent, but humans are not. Perhaps the very noise of that effort, those signals, those measurements, those questions, is the way humanity answers the infinite void that is staring back at us. No one knows if anyone is listening to us in the darkness out there. But if they are, then those eyes and ears, fast, scar, web, louvois, will be the first slender threads weaving a bridge between two solitudes. And when that bridge is complete, even if only by a fragile signal, humans will know that the universe has finally spoken. Amidst the endless night of the cosmos, Earth floats like a speck of dust, wearing a pale blue color, fragile and lonely. From the distance of Neptune, it is just a dim point of light, almost swallowed by the darkness. But inside that point of light, every laughter, every memory, every story ever told radiates silently together, like the weak breath of a small creature in a black ocean. The imaginary camera pulls back, moving away from Earth, passing through the orbits where humans once placed satellites, past the cold moon and planets bearing their own light. Everything recedes behind, shrinking until only the primordial silence remains. In that void, a question once rang out from ancient times. Are we alone in this universe? Perhaps the answer lies where light has never touched. Maybe on some distant planet, another creature is also looking up at its own sky, wondering the same thing. Maybe they are also building giant eyes to search, also sending weak signals through the mist of space, hoping to find a reply. If that is true, then amidst the cold stars, every being that knows how to love, knows fear, and knows how to ask why, is a sibling to one another. Even if separated by millions of light years and billions of years of evolution. But it is also possible that there is no one else out there. Maybe the universe is truly empty, and Earth is just an exception, a single flash of awareness in the long dream of matter. If so, humanity's solitude becomes the most miraculous thing, because amidst the cold void, the universe spontaneously gave birth to a creature that could look back at it, could utter that sentence, and could feel its own beauty. At the edge of the solar system, where sunlight is so weak it is just a distant star, Voyager 1 continues to drift. It carries a golden record engraved with greetings in 55 languages, the sounds of Earth, ocean waves, wind, the cry of a newborn, and a piece of music by Bach. That record is the only letter humanity has sent out, not knowing if anyone will read it. It drifts in space like a prayer with no listener, Yet it makes the silence more meaningful than ever. Voyager can no longer communicate for much longer. Its antenna points toward Earth, emitting signals weaker than a breath, taking more than 20 light hours to reach us. But in every line of that data is a quiet story. The story of the will of a tiny species that dared to send a piece of its soul into the darkness. And when it crosses the final boundary of the solar system, entering interstellar space, humans for the first time become part of the universe, not just in body, but in consciousness. Carl Sagan, who helped place that golden record on the ship, once said that if the universe has no life, it has missed the chance to know how beautiful it is. Hidden in that statement is a silent truth, that our existence does not make the universe less mysterious, but makes it meaningful. Since the Big Bang birthed time and space, matter has wandered for billions of years, going through countless forms, until a small part of it began to wonder, what am I? When a child looks up at the night sky and asks his father about the stars, that is the moment the universe looks back at itself. When a scientist adjusts a lens to search for a distant planet, that is when the universe listens to its own echo. And when humanity, despite knowing it is small, continues to send signals, continues to hope, that is proof that consciousness is not a random error, but the way the universe becomes self-aware. Perhaps the silence we hear is not a denial, but a whisper too subtle to understand. Maybe every other civilization has found their own answer, and realized that the true dialogue lies not between the stars, but within the very existence of consciousness. A reflection of the infinite within the smallest speck of dust. Humanity may continue searching for thousands of years, maybe never hearing a single signal. Or perhaps tomorrow, a weak pulse will appear, overcoming all doubt, proving that we are not alone. But whatever the result, the journey remains the most sacred thing. Because in every act of sending a signal, humans are saying, we are still here, we are still listening. When telescopes expand their vision to the borders of space-time, when receivers place their ears against the stillness of the cosmos, they are not just looking for life, they are looking for a part of themselves. From the cold gas of nebulas to the invisible beat of pulsars, everything speaks the same language, the language of energy, of motion, of existence. And in that language, humans begin to realize that life is not the exception of the universe, but its continuation. Earth still turns, blue amidst the void. Winds still blow across the ocean, carrying moisture from one shore to another. Every creature still lives, loves, and dies in an endless cycle. And perhaps, in a moment somewhere else in the Milky Way, another world is doing the same thing, gazing at its own sky, feeling the ungraspable beauty of existence. If there is no one out there, it is okay. Because even in loneliness, humanity has made the universe meaningful. When human eyes look up at the sky and see the stars, that is the first time in 13.8 billion years that the universe sees itself. When a human mind visualizes the concept of infinity, that infinity is no longer abstract, but has become known. And thus, even if only existing for a fleeting moment, consciousness has fulfilled its greatest mission, transforming existence into something that can be felt. Voyager is still traveling, carrying the sounds of Earth, drifting through dark regions never named. No one knows where it will reach or how long it will drift. Perhaps millions of years from now, another being will pick up that record, place it on a table, and listen to the sound of rain, of a beating heart, of human laughter. And then they will know that in a very ancient moment, the universe once sang a brief song through us. The screen fades to black, leaving only a tiny point of light suspended in the night. Earth, the only home of consciousness we know. And as the final echo fades, only one sentence remains, like a whisper from the universe itself. If the universe has no life, it has missed the chance to know how beautiful it is. Thank you for listening together. Amidst the immense cosmic ocean, perhaps the most miraculous thing is not the answer, but the fact that we still want to ask. If you find peace in this journey, please subscribe to Study and Sleep to continue exploring the quiet corners of the universe. Remember that in that endless night, a tiny light from Earth is still radiating, carrying the story of all of us. Thank you for being a part of that journey.